Hello everyone, and just your average Suluwu video. Today, we're going to be talking about some interesting things to Rayquaza and things that are going to be able to take your win rate up that extra 30%. I think it's pretty simple, but nonetheless, I want to go and cover this idea and topic with you guys because I think there's a million different ways to look at it, and we're going to be having this whole series to do this. So of course, if you're enjoying what I've been putting out, please like the video, comment down below what you'd like to see instead, and of course, sub to the channel if you haven't already. Now, as I said, I believe in upfronting the knowledge, so I'm going to go over a quick overview of what we're going to do today. We're going to do something very interesting and very new. I'm going to have half of an actual game in terms of the Ray fight, and then we're actually going to also have, in the meantime, this actual gameplay, like we're going to explain it and play it out on like these maps. So, what I want to talk about a bit is the Rayquaza, right, today. And I think, like, this is the most pivotal moment of a match. You have a lot of players going for back caps, you have a lot of players going for flanks. Like, there's a whole variety of actions you can do, and I'd say the agency of a player is extremely high at Rayquaza. Like, one positive play can equal 2 bad plays from your teammates, but one really bad play can equal like 6 or 7 or 8 good plays from your teammates. It really depends on the impact and what kind of characters you're on. We're going to talk a bit about the support and top lane synergy today. I'm playing a lot of top lane. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot, so I want to get it off my chest and, at least give you guys some value. So, let's just say we look at some top laners, characters that come to mind. They're like maybe this Buzzwole, right? We're seeing a lot of Buzzwole in these games, so let's just put some Buzzwole here. Generally, they have the top laner to soak up this expression top, like in this pressure, and then maybe put some support. Let's just say, actually, a good example would be Clefable. And usually the Clefable is grouping up with like the tank and the rest, and the Buzzwole's playing this top side, or sometimes the Buzzwole goes down on the bottom, and we'll just use the enemy Buzzwole color, but we'll use the Buzzwole on the bottom, and it's just coming in, soaking the bot lane pressure. So what is the point of this structure? And like, does it actually achieve anything? So like, we're talking today about support and top lane chemistry and like the synergy that should have and follow through at Ray. So this is what you're seeing in your like competitive matches right now. You're seeing a support, you're seeing a top laner, which is generally some tank, some like either counter engage or full engage, and either the Buzzwole will be sitting on top of the carries, as I said, on top of this bottom roll, or it'll be in top side looking for like some type of flank maneuver, or maybe even a score play. This is, I'd say, 10%, and then the other play is around like, I'd say 90, right? Like it's quite obvious what play Buzzwole wants to make. We want to fight more. So like, we're looking like this for Buzzwole, we're looking like this for Buzzwole. It's one of two styles. You're either running in or you're coming back and defending. And when we look at this, I guess you can categorize this as a mini Buzzwole guide, but the idea behind the gameplay here is to soak as much experience and pressure as you can for the enemy team. Now, I guess I say experience in the sense because I'm so used to other mobile games, but you really want to deny the positioning and create the most opportune moment for your team. You want to soak Unite moves, you want to tank pressure, you want to be the person that's targeted because you're not on these hard carry characters. If you look at it, yes, Buzzwole does a lot, but Buzzwole does a lot when left unchecked, and it's never going to get left unchecked, so it's your job to absorb more pressure than the enemy top laner can. Because more often than not, if the enemy top laner is playing carry, yeah, okay, you're in the backline duty. So just try to see it like that. If they're playing carry, let's just say something like a Zacian, you're probably on the backline. If they're playing something like a Blastoise, let's just grab poor old Blastoise, yeah, you can go in top lane and you're looking to counter him or like looking for the flank. Now, of course, I believe that something that's very interesting at Rayquaza is we should always have coverage in the both lanes. Like, at least there has to be some coverage. If you completely leave this top side, or you completely leave this bottom side, there's a whole range of issues, but I guess we're going to talk about that in another video. But instead, as I said, we're more looking at like this centralized fighting and like what kind of style Buzzwole has. So we either have this like looking into pocket and help out in this area, be sort of this defensive eye here, or we're like looking at it as an aggressor. Now, we're going to go into a gameplay like in a bit, but I'm first going to talk about how this should play out. I think if you're going to play as an aggressor, there's a few things you can do. We're going to do 2 actionable tips. Aggressors should look to control this, or control this. This being like no top tower. So if there's no top tower, the understanding behind controlling this bush is that you get to see anyone running through corridor, anyone running through top lane first, and you have slight vision access to the bottom side. Okay? So if you control this bush, what does that give you as a top laner, let's just say? So running here, what actually happens? Okay, I'll see it, I can maybe adjust, I can retaliate and react to something happening here. Like we could do that, or in fact, I can use that as a go sign. Guys, like you'd be surprised how many players don't realize, okay, the top laner looks committed on their action. We explain to the team, oh, okay, the bots, like the top side is dangerous now. Imagine the teams fall like this, right? Like this is a whole nother level of thinking you probably never heard about. So you're watching guard, and you're like, okay, push the fight down. So what they do is they start angling. You can get your team to angle from this position, and then you can go and flank around here. And now the fight will be around here, where when the top laner realizes he has to run back, it's the longest amount of time until that player can be useful. Of course, this is invalidated by Hoopa, and there's some other characters that can really make short work for this, Lapras, etc., right? But it's all about creating the most opportune moments. If you can create a 5v5 that isn't a 5v5, it's a 4v5, and you can soak the pressure as a top laner, you're going to more than often win because there's going to be enough resources available. As I said, it's all about resource allocation. Now, as I said, like this is one of the key ideas I want you to take away. So like these bushes, right? So like let's just say something like this bush. Now this is like we're not more so watching for the back cap here, but we're more so watching for like the intervention push, and we're looking for the catching a mage going to rotate for greedy experience. So your idea is that you're watching for movements of that direction, you're watching movements of this direction, and then you're sort of sitting here. You need to be prepared to run either up or into this. If you run in here, you're guaranteed dead. It's a no zone. Don't do that, okay? So you learned that. You're watching for this movement. Do not jump unless you know numbers are counted and you know you can make an active play. Now, this is up to you to understand your character's limits and know how to play the game. I can't give you a step-by-step tutorial. That would be a whole nother video. But more often than not, you need to know, okay, well, is this within my threshold? Can I take this much pressure? Am I providing value? These are the questions you ask, and then you make the appropriate play. Now, for example, when we're in this bush, right? We're also like it's ready to escape in these two directions. We can also look to pinch into this choke. And the main reason we want to pinch is you can debate them forward with your team. So like your team can fall back. Like this is the things you're not going to see in solo queue. I'm talking more about team sense, but think about this as like a perspective. You can push them forward into your team. You can herd these players because when you have this level of control as a top laner, you have to understand and just respect, okay, how quick is our day to get on me and how much space do I need between them? You're sort of like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, but in Australia here, we have a lot of farms. And what they do is they have cattle dogs. And their whole purpose in life is like to chase these sheep and round them into the most like intelligent formations to get them into the paddocks. So it's the same logic here. You need to be this cattle dog. You need to chase them. You don't let them run top. You don't let them run bottom. You chase them the whole time, like sort of waiting off their entrance. Eventually, their patience, their tolerance for this is going to run out, and they're going to dive you. And that is when you can get your team to go, because it's a war on two fronts. It's just, as I said, like you don't want to engage in that kind of behavior, and they end up losing the game from it. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next section. And alright, welcome back. Alright, that was a bit of time for me. But I've gone down into the game. We're going to be watching Azumarill's perspective, and I want you guys to all quickly answer, depending on like what this map position is, where do you think Azumarill should place itself? We're going to go into the map after this game, but we're going to watch the last 2 minutes, and we all know that 2 minutes actually starts 20 seconds before, so we're just going to start from here. So you see Azumarill, he's just going to jump off the pad, probably to middle, and then I would say obtain top positioning. That would be the most likely, but instead, it takes the bottom. There's a few things wrong with this, but it's okay at this current point in the game. And as you can see, there's some sort of conflicting from the Azumarill. This does appear to be a 5-stack, I'm not too sure, could be 3 or 2, but nevertheless, we just see Azumarill just positioning this bottom bush. And like, just take a good moment to look. Okay, so Zoroark is flanking with the Blissey, our Ession's in the back line, Azumarill and Tree in the bottom. So we're like clearly trying to create a pinch maneuver. But the enemy team, like this Absol only just starts moving now. Like look, they're honestly like in a really strong position without even considering for the enemy team's position. I would say that, what's the objective of Azumarill here? As I said, and I'm talking more about the top lane and the support synergy. That's what really like what we should be investigating. So this is, I guess, like our whole idea focus point. Really try to center that and focus. There's like a loss of faith, I guess, in the ability of the Azumarill by the support, because there's no setup being created from this. The Pokemon's idea and the inherent idea of top lane has to be to somewhat engage and create fights. You're not the highest level in the team, but you are still a relatively strong member. You generally are more tanky than not. If you're not tanky, you have a lot of damage. Your goal is to create the opening for others. Why are you trying to carry? Like, this is, you know, maybe in this idea we've twisted and warped reality to believe that we're going to have an extremely high impact. So let's continue watching. Just continue waiting. And now he reveals into the bottom of the pit. And when we talk about the space creation, I guess, we're going to go and review it in the map. But, like, what this position exactly causes is that there's openings. Like, of course, you can't expect everything to go perfect. Just some good jerking. And you can see the beginning of the end. This is already a terrible play. And it was all caused because why? We're allowing the enemy team to play aggressive without being aggressive ourselves. Now, Absol might die here, and that would be the best outcome. But if Absol doesn't die, I think this is almost certainly a losing game. Let's just see. I mean, it could go either way, honestly. Espeon dies, Cramorant takes down another, Azu dies, they all die, and the game is over. And the Zoro seems bugged out. I mean, guys, you know what happened there? It's like, look, I don't need to watch this is the first time I'm watching it, right? And what I'm trying to say here is, like, when we look at other situations where we're going to, I assume this game is lost. In practice, this game is lost. You have to understand that, yeah, sure, miracle steals happen, but that isn't what you should be basing your learning and your understanding of. You should be basing it off the probability chances. If this is a 90% chance win, yeah, sure, in a tournament it doesn't count, but in a ranked or a practice match, you should understand you lost this game. You failed. There was something that went wrong. And I guess that's what we're going to break down now. So another cut. So going back to the map, let's just go and recreate this exact system and place that this happened. So we got Espeon in top lane. We got Azumarill. Where's the Azumarill? Here. Blissey and Zoroark. And Trevenant. So, like, you can already see that there's a few structures that are missing. One, the enemy team has easy access to Espeon if they chose it. Even though they don't have this pad, I guess if Absol wanted to, it could loop around. But more importantly, they're playing into the enemy strengths. If you actually, like, find the enemy characters, and we'll put Absol, we'll put Cramorant, I don't even remember what's on their team. Cram, Tree, Eldegoss, and Luca. So see, like, they're completely caught off guard. More importantly, when this Espeon comes down to here, when these two push up into this bush, you've already isolated this team without a supporter. And you're also putting the strongest player isolated. Do you understand the problem when we make this formation and why I try to offer the top lane as this suggestion? That's why I said you have to believe in the top laner to initiate engage, because we need our damage dealer to be dealing damage. It's ludicrous to allow Zoroark to get stuck on, like, probably the two most annoying members of the team with an Eldegoss to block the way. And the reason all these free players die is because we're already lacking the capabilities to shut them down. We have a huge range ultimate and we have no damage or backup with the Azumarill. So when Espeon falls, which of course it does instantly, well, then the game is completely lost. And I guess this is the point I'm trying to say. These structures do matter. Learning about them, understanding them does actually make a difference in your gameplays, because you're going to be a better player when you go into the next match, and that's going to make a difference for even the smallest 1%. It can cost the game. If you're a top laner, you see now that, like, look, maybe the bot side isn't so powerful when I position myself like here, because I never highlighted that bush unless it's this bush. You either are hiding here, here, or here. And that's a very important thing. Remember, we talked about this. Like, in these senses, like, we don't even want to hide in this bush. It's just too close to the enemy team, and it's too easily detected. We want to hide in this one, we want to hide in this one. And then we, like, okay, if we race it just here, here, and here. And the reason why is you have these access points. You have the time to build up and ramp up, and you can cover the different spots in the game. This is what you want to do if you want to be a proactive top laner. It's very important. I see a lot of top laners hiding in these bushes here. That's okay. I feel like the reactivity from these bushes here is greatly diminished by a top tier team. You'll see that the top tier players against players like this had completely countered them, stop and steal, find great secures against them, and generally overall, like, they diminished the performance and impact despite paying no attention to these players. And it's really depressing because they have the field. They have the chance to win. Everyone's putting you down. Like, they don't think your positioning is great. And it's just like, it just gets proven right because the positioning down from here is not going to be as powerful. The support, even if it does follow you, is going to come late into a fight where it's already against the odds. Don't be these players. Go and diversify how you think about your flanks. It's going to make the world of difference. Think about the support and top lane chemistry. It's going to make a big difference too. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this little thing. Had to get it off my chest. This is something I've been thinking about. I hope you all enjoyed the video. And, you know, peace. We'll see you in the next one, okay? Make sure you like, sub, and comment on the video. Let me know what you want to see instead. Let me know what you want to see later. And I hope you all have a wonderful and lovely day. Bye, guys.